एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरपौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसे बे सच। In this video, we will shortly discuss the main quality and the reason as to why Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, Tandan Pancham Paatshaahi Ji, composed the Sukhmani Sahib. During his period, Punjab faced a very difficult time in terms of one disease which had struck the citizens over there. And it was a leprosy kind of a disease where a person's face was becoming little overturned, some person's hand was becoming overturned, and a lot of turmoil was going on in terms of the health of the people of Punjab. And ardas was done to Guru Arjan Dev Maharaj Ji to compose the Sukhmani Sahib, or an ardas was done to ward off this trouble which has befallen on the region at that time. So, Pancham Paatshaahi Tantan Guru Arjan Dev Maharaj Ji, in 8 days, 3 stanzas, 3 octets, which slokas per day, in 8 days the Sukhmani Sahib Ji was composed. Sukhmani Sahib Ji has a miraculous effect, therefore, on a person's health. In Amritsar and around Amritsar, many doctors who have qualified from the Guru Nanak Dev University often sit outside the place where Sukhmani Sahib is being recited, and they take the blood pressure measurements of people who go inside, and after the recital of the part and the bhog, when the people come, it has been seen that a remarkable reduction in the blood pressure levels, a remarkable reduction in many of the ailments related to nerves has been noted. Now, Sukhmani Sahib's this quality was many times questioned even by Sikh luminaries, but the Bani is Ilahi Bani. Turki Bani ai jini sagli chint mitai. And one cannot doubt the Bani. Bani Guru hai Bani. Which Bani Amritsar hai. The very beginning of the Sukhmani Sahib, Prab ke simran garab na base, Simro simar simar sikh pao, kal kales tan mahe mitao, Simro jas bisambar eke, naam japat agnat aneke, वेद पुराण सिमत सुधाकर कीने राम नाम एक आखर किन का एक जिस जी बसावे ताकि महिमा घड़ी ना आवे काकी एक दरस तुहारो नानक उनसंग मोहे उदारो सुखमणि सुख अमृत प्रभ नाम भगत जना के मन विश्राम प्रभ के सिमरन करब न बसे प्रभ के सिमरन दुख जब नसे प्रभ के सिमरन काल प्रहरे प्रभ के सिमरन दुश्मन टरे प्रभ से नृत कछ बिगड़ न लागे प्रभ के सिमरन अंधन जागे प्रभ के सिमरन भव न व्यापे प्रभ के सिमरन दुख न संतापे प्रभ का सिमरन साध के संग सर्व निदान नानक हरण प्रभ के सिमरन रिद्ध सिद्ध नौ निध्य प्रभ के सिमरन ज्ञान ध्यान तक बुद्धे प्रभ के सिमरन जब तक पूजा प्रभ के सिमरन भिड़ से दूजा प्रभ के सिमरन तीरथ स्नानी प्रभ के सिमरन दरगह मानी प्रभ के सिमरन होए सुबला प्रभ के सुबन सुफल पड़ा से सिमरे जिन आप सिमराए नानक ताके लागू पाए प्रभ का सिमरन सबते ऊंचा प्रभ के सिमरन उदय ऊंचा प्रभ के सिमरन तृष्णा बुझे प्रभ के सिमरन सब कुछ सूझे प्रभ के सिमरन ही जम आशा प्रभ के सिमरन पूर्ण आशा प्रभ के सिमरन मलकी मिल जाए अमृत नामृत में समाये प्रभ जी बसे साथ की रसना नानक जन का दास न रसना प्रभु को सिमरे से धनवंते, प्रभु को सिमरे से पतिवंते, प्रभु को सिमरे से जिन परमान, प्रभु को सिमरन से प्रभु दान, प्रभु को सिमरे से भय मुताजे, प्रभु को सिमरे से सर्प के राजे, प्रभु को सिमरे से सुखवासी, प्रभु को सिमरे सदा विनाशी, सिमरन ते लागे जिन आप दयाला, नानक जिनकी मंगेर वाला, प्रभु को सिमरे से परोपकारी, प्रभु को सिमरे तिन सब बलिहारी, प्रभु को सिमरे से दुख डावे, प्रभु को सिमरे तिन सुख ध्यावे, प्रभु को सिमरे तिन आत्म जीता, प्रभु को सिमरे तिन निर्मल रीता, प्रभु को सिमरे तिन अनंत गनेरे, प्रभु को सिमरे बसे हर नेरे, संत पाते अंदिन जागे, नानक सिमरन पूरे पावे। सिमरो सिमर सिमर सुख पावो, कल कलेस तन मह मिटाओ। The first octet which I just recited just now in a very speedy manner. The very first words, apart from the other qualities which are defined in the very first stanza, the very first octet, which emphasize on the simran, on the contemplation. It begins with Simro Simar Simar Sukh Pavo, Kal Kales Tan Meh Mitao, which means that with the contemplation of the Almighty's name, the problems relating to the body, they are solved. So the special emphasis on the disease being cured and specific emphasis on the problems with the physical ailments of a human being are emphasized in the first octet itself. Similarly, there are other words also which are used in the Sukhmani Sahib. Sarab Roka Aukhad Naam Kalyan Roop Mangal Gunagam. And towards the end, Dukh Rog Binse Bhai Bharam Sad Naam Nirmalta Ke Karm Satya Ushta Ki Shobha Bani Nanak Ekun Naam Sukhmani. The very purpose of Sukhmani Sahib, the primary purpose was to ward off the diseases. Now I will give a few examples. A recital of the Sukhmani Sahib in a number of practical cases which I even see today, that once a person is diagnosed with a kind of disease and when he is given medicine, a recital of the Sukhmani Sahib next to the person controls the disease and helps recovery faster. To say for an example, I will give a few examples in the past and a few current examples also as to how Sukhmani Sahib has been effective. And those people who have sometimes come and asked me or sometimes have taken a bit of my advice, though I am no saint, though I am not a spiritual master, I am only a humble servant. But from what I have gathered in my spiritual studies, sometimes I share it with those people who ask me. And I suggest to them that for every disease, Sukhmani Sahib can be recited with surety that the person's ailment would improve. To begin with, in the years before, in 1964, there was a Hindu NASA scientist. His name was Vasu Bharadwaj. His wife was a Sindhi, and she used to have a lot of faith in Gurbani. His relatives were also Sikhs. He was an atheist. He was a Nastic. He was diagnosed with cancer, less chances of survival, and doctors said that only 15 to 20 days would be left with him for his life. Akhand Path Sahib started with specific emphasis on Sukhmani Sahib's recital. Miraculously, this man, when Sukhmani Sahib was being recited, towards the last Ashtapadi, he got up and he went and he started moving around. And it was found that the ailment had been cured. Similarly, there was another person by the name of Mahendra Singh in the late 1970s who would visit Tan Baba Ishar Singh Ji, and he was diagnosed with TB. Frequent recital of Sukhmani Sahib morning and evening cured him of tuberculosis. Similarly, there was another lady who was having blisters on her chest, and the doctor said that this would be very, very serious. The lady also started reciting Sukhmani Sahib, and Sukhmani Sahib cured it to a good extent. I will now relate to you when my father was in semi-coma at the Hinduja hospital in Mumbai. I used to recite Sukhmani Sahib next to him. Though he did not survive, but in that comatose period, when he was in full coma, he did revive from coma partly, and he started making eye signals and talking with his eyes. I have seen this with my own eyes. In the recent Corona epidemic, my NGO, Nitya Law Society, did a lot of seva all over Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, as well as Thane in Maharashtra. And I was roaming about quite freely, and to be honest, sometimes even without a mask. And I was reciting only Sukhmani Sahib 2 or 3 times a day. Astonishingly, you may note that neither me, neither my wife ever developed COVID anytime, except a few little bit symptoms which we developed in October 2021. And with frequent recital of Sukhmani Sahib every day, morning, evening, in the night, even that got cured in 2 to 3 days. I was not even detected positive. These are wondrous effects. Even the Mughals during those days, when Sukhmani Sahib was recited, there are sakhis of Wazir Khan, there are sakhis of so many people which are replete with instances that Sukhmani Sahib, how Sukhmani Sahib cured them. Diseases like Jalodreda Rog, jaundice, various kind of diseases can get cured with the recital of Sukhmani Sahib. Now, this is a matter of not only faith, but strict faith and reliance on the Bani. A Sant Mahapurush used to sit, and people used to ask him, son of Namdan Dev. Namdan meaning any kind of a mantra by which a person can do the jap or contemplate God, and he can come closer and closer to God. Babaji would give them, some people some shabads, some people some sapads. A poor farmer came to Babaji and asked him, मुझे नाम दान दो, मैंने नाम दान दो बाबा जी, मैंने परमात्मा का नाम जपना का मैंने पढ़ना लिखना नहीं आता. I don't know how to read. Just give me something by which I can become closer to God. Babaji gave him the Mool Mantra Sahib and Satnam Vaheguru Jap along with one Shabad. He asked Babaji, in how much time will I develop closeness to God? In how much time will I accomplish spiritual development? So Babaji told him, 6 months. Seeing him, a close-by engineer, he came and he said that even I want to become closer to God. Even I want to realize the Almighty. Similarly, Babaji gave him also a Shabad. But he told him that you may take 3 years. The engineer was shocked. He said, how, Babaji? This poor man who was not even educated, he has taken Namdan from you, and you have promised him that in 6 months he would attain self-realization. And me, I am educated. Why can't I attain it? Babaji used his experience, smiled and said, look son, the problem with you is that you are too educated. All the educated people see reason. They criticize, they analyze things, and they go by logics. Whereas a poor man who is not educated, he relies like a child on the spiritual guide provided by Sri Guru Arjan Dev. His faith therefore becomes much more powerful, and he takes lesser time to realize God. So there is a child in everybody. Everybody has a child within himself. And as a child, when your reasoning is not much developed, you start relying on things. Awaken your child, become innocent, become Nimana, spread your spread your palms before the Almighty and do Ardas. Develop your faith. Sukhmani Sahib will cure you of all diseases. I know about a lady who used to do Sukhmani Sahib on her son who was with cancer. As far as she was doing those Sukhmani Sahib part, the son was living and he was even surviving, and there were chances of even recovery. Some people told him, no, you go to Dharamshala, there is some chikitsa going on over there. She stopped that Sukhmani Sahib. Within 10 to 15 days, she lost her son. I am not saying that non-recital will make you lose something, but please have reliance on Sukhmani Sahib. It's a very strong and a very powerful bani for health purposes. On the aspect of health, we will be making a separate chapter on how Sukhmani Sahib cures ailments. But for this series, which deals with the importance of Sukhmani Sahib series, there are 9 qualities. We have cut short this description and this quality ascription today. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.